Hi, this is Nicole McGurk, and welcome to another From Start to Finish video and layout brought to you by 2peasinabucket.com. This week's layout features lots of product from the new My Mind's Eye Lost and Found 2 collection, and I just thought it would be fun to show how you can use lots of pieces from one collection and maybe just a few additional things to create a layout really quickly and easily. So I used lots of pre-made things and lots of pattern paper for this layout. The first thing I did was trim down this paper right here. This paper has a pre-made label on it. One of the things I particularly like about this collection of paper from My Mind's Eye is lots of the papers have little pre-printed areas on them that are great to add a title or journaling or embellishment without having to actually go and either die cut or use some other type of an embellishment. So if you kind of think about that before you trim down your paper, you can go ahead and leave an area where you can do that. So I'm going to use the polka dot paper. It has lots of glitter on it and stuff that you can see there with that text label on the bottom half of my layout. So I cut that at 6 by 12. And then I'm just trimming some strips from additional papers to work on my layout. I knew that I was using a 4 by 6 photo and then 2 3 by 4 photos. So that kind of helps me gauge where I need to trim my pattern papers to make everything fit. I die cut my title at 4 inches wide by about 4 inches, or yes, 4 inches tall, so that it fits right there above my 4 by 6 photo and right next to my 3 by 4 photos. So I did a little bit of pre-planning in my mind just so that I could make sure everything fit correctly. Then over there to the left of my larger photo, I printed my journaling, and I printed it and I'm going to position it on my page so that it's going a different direction. Every once in a while I think it's fun to switch up your journaling and do things like that, especially maybe not, I wouldn't recommend that if you were doing a bunch of journaling, but where I just had a tiny bit of journaling here that wouldn't be difficult to read in this kind of style or how whatever, it looks good and it's easy to read still. So now I'm simply adding my layers. I've punched a scallop border. I had originally cut that black and white border straight across, and I thought it just needed a little bit of softening up, so I used my Fiskars punch to add a scallop border. Another great thing is you can see with that kind of craft background that has the damask print on it, that looks like something that you could have stamped, but the paper comes already printed like that. So I really like when you kind of cut apart the different pieces, how they give a more homemade feel, I guess is the word I'm looking for. And I did tear my paper a little bit there. This paper doesn't really like to be picked up once you've added your adhesive. I know a lot of people ask me because I a lot of times am able to pick up my paper and not tear it. Everything I picked up on this layout tore. Everything. So this paper is not very forgiving because I tried to tuck that little pre-made flag banner underneath that black and white border and it ended up tearing, and so I had to remove the entire thing and cut a new border to place down over that. Then I'm just going to add a few details to that little pre-made tag border, or tag little banner rather, by wrapping some string around it and then tying a button into that string and tying a little bow. It adds a really cute detail and just kind of dresses up that pre-made embellishment a little bit. I'm going to use a glue dot to secure that button so that it doesn't move around, and then I'll tie my bow and trim those ends. And I'm just using some of those really fun buttons from My Mind's Eye. I love those button cards they come on. I'm going to secure each end of that black and white little border up there with the tiny attacher, just because I have so many layers going on and so many of these papers have glitter on them. I'm using the tiny attacher where I can so that it kind of helps secure everything on my page so things don't move around. Again, I punched another little border there. I thought the scalloped helped soften up the page a little bit. And then I was going to use that little herringbone pattern there again, and then I decided I didn't want to use that, and I changed my mind. I'm going to end up using the black and white border. I am going to cut a little floral border from this paper. I really wanted to incorporate something that had lots of the colors from this collection in it. A lot of the papers I chose to use had a lot of either all the pinks or purples or crafts or blacks, and I just wanted to kind of have just a little touch of something that picks up a lot of colors from the page. Plus, this is another piece or paper that has some glitter in it, so I put it up there near the top of the page. It kind of ties that glitter from the bottom of the page up into the top of the page. Then I'll just secure my photo here. Next, I'm going to cut some butterflies using this Movers and Shakers die by Sizzix. It's one of Tim Holtz's butterfly dies, and this is one of my favorites. I use it a lot. It's a great size. It's not too big, it's not too small, and I'm just going to cut several of these out from a pattern paper, and then I'm going to cut a couple out from vellum, and I'm just going to end up layering all of these together, but it makes for a really full butterfly. Really simple and easy. I'm going to punch a large 2.5-inch circle from vellum, and then I'm going to cut a 2-inch circle from a scrap of one of my pattern papers and just layer that vellum circle on top of the pattern paper one. Then I have some label stickers, some buttons, and some brads, and I'm just going to finish off my page by adding some embellishments here and there. So I'm just kind of testing things out a little bit. I was going to see if I wanted to add a smaller punched butterfly, and I decided I didn't really think my page needed it. It had plenty going on. And I'm going to add a little sticker here as well. Just kind of moving things around. At this point, it's simply finishing up the page and figuring out where I want all those finishing details to go. So I layered my butterflies, and I tried the tiny attacher and it didn't really want to go through all those layers. That's 8 layers of paper, cardstock, or vellum. So I ended up using a bigger stapler to secure that. Then I'm going to adhere that right to that little pre-made label that's already printed on the paper. And then I'm going to add this little sticker, and I decided I liked it underneath better than to the side. And then I'm going to thread some string through one of these My Mind's Eye buttons, and I'm going to secure it on the back with some glue dots rather than actually sewing it to the butterfly. Again, going through that many layers of cardstock would be a little bit more difficult, and so I just threaded the string through so it looks like it's sewn on and attached it with some glue dots. I'm finishing with a few brads, going to stamp my date on an October afternoon, little label sticker here, and adhere that to my page. Up near the top, I guess I didn't get that recorded, I'm sorry about that. But that's simply just tucking the label sticker where I want it to go. That's one thing I've really made a conscious effort in doing, is making sure that I'm adding my dates to all my pages. I have been going through some of my older albums and putting layouts away that just have never been put away, and I'm kind of irritated with myself for not putting those dates on, so I'm making a real effort to make sure I always put my dates on my pages. For more information on this layout, plus a list of supplies used to create it, please visit twopeasinabucket.com on August 17th, 2011. Thanks for watching.